remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Aye, aye, Admiral Butthead.
So don't mess with me.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
I pray for the president all the time.
Ugh, back to the lock with you, Nessie.
I've now been in 57 states.
He's what we designate as the Cromie-Moronic type.
You didn't crawl out from under no rocks. You didn't have no tails. We didn't come from monkeys, you atheistic pinko meathead.
Donald Trump no longer has the capacity to break my heart.
I'm not pissed. You've seen me pissed. This is way, way beyond pissed.
Now it's a party!
Don't try to be funny, will you, meathead?
Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother.
Good
to the Brotherhood of Liberty.
To the Brotherhood of Liberty. Yes, we are back again. We have a very interesting evening to go over. Tonight's a little different than usual. We like to break it into little segments, but tonight we're just splitting the show in half because we're going to start up with my brother's going to give you an update on our predictions and how we did with with Pennsylvania. He's going to go talk about Pennsylvania with the what's going on there and the shenanigans going on there. We also then have a look back into actually the predictions of how we did and our culture and going forward, how we're going to fight and what we plan on doing fight. Just want to be clear, the Ballistic Patriot is not throwing in the towel. We do believe President Trump deserves 4 more years. All right, brother, can you take it away and give us an update on Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania is still in play. Pennsylvania is still should not be declared in the Biden camp. So let me sum up. No, that'll take too long. Let me explain. It's a joke from Princess Bride, but we'll break it up into big ball versus small ball. So the big ball will be like a huge chunk of the votes that's out there, and the small ball will be some of the other stuff, some of the other things. Now, unfortunately, the Trump campaign got a little bit off foot when they started going after things like the old, like people from the 18th century voting and stuff like that. But what we're going to expect to see in the on Monday is another attack entirely that probably nobody's ever heard about. What's at question is the verification of ballots. So now that's different from what we've been hearing. We've been hearing about Pennsylvania's other problems with Pennsylvania Supreme Court and Judge Alito. That's the small ball. I mean, it still might turn it one way or another, but let's focus first on the big ball. Okay, so the big ball in that we're talking about is the verified ballot, not just a ballot, but the verification process of the ballot. So just so we are all on the same page, what normally happens is you present yourself at the polling site. You have your ID. You show them your ID. You go in. They pick you out. They go through their book and you sign in, and they compare your signature to the long list of other signatures they have on record for you. So that's the verification of the ballot, okay? Because I am now verifying that's me. The poll worker can verify that that's me. That's the verification process. Now, for example, my friend just moved from Upper Darby over to Granite Run Mall, all the way out there. He just moved, but when he showed up this year to vote, he wrote down his signature, and they already had a list from the book transferred from Upper Darby to verify that that's him signing the ballot. Now it's a little bit different in this election. Is that then they gave you a ballot, right? You go over to a booth, you fill in like an oval but a square with a black pen your selections, and then you write in somebody if you want to. And I heard there was the best defense attorney in Pennsylvania got a lot of writes in. His name begins with S, but that's beside the point. But then you go over and then you put it in the machine like a laptop, and it reads it, and then a little red flag pops up. All right, now that machine though is just counting the ballots. It's not doing the actual verification. Verification happened with the poll worker before. It's still unclear what happened. So on all the video that you see or you have seen that you see them counting the vote. Remember that Donald Trump, President Trump, won 600,000. He was up 600,000 election night when they just stopped, and then they counted the vote. But it's unclear whether the process that they quote verified the vote. So now, even if they had some kind of computer program that compared it, to me, that's not a verification. First of all, I mean, I don't trust any computer program, and it's not a qualified worker, and it would set up the problem of a difference in the type of voting. So, for example, all Donald Trump's voters, because they show up that day, would have to go through this rigorous process of verifying their signatures to prove who they are, whereas anybody can send in a vote through the mail and it not have to be verified. So there's an equal protection due process claim to be making here too. So when I say it's the big ball, it's because remember we're talking there was 1 million votes that were counted from election night till Friday. That's a lot of votes, and in that, Joe Biden made up 600,000, is now currently ahead 40,000. So that could be the whole ball of wax there. Plus, we all know what really happened. All right, now Pennsylvania's history for ballot fraud is unbelievable. Just a couple of years ago, it was a judge of elections, Dominic DeMuro, pled guilty to stuffing ballots. Now, we wondered how it would happen. There was 59 districts in Philadelphia that always come back 100% Democrat, 100% for whoever the Democrat nominee is. Now, we always joke about it. We would say, listen, even people, you can't get 100% of anybody to do 100% of anything ever. You can't get 100% of people to die. There's a guy named Jesus Christ, and he's walking around 2,000 years going, pretending he's Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you wake up, you wake up. You can't even get 100% of people to die. Yet still consistently 59 districts in Philadelphia have 100% vote Democrat. But there's a problem this year. What we found out with Judge of Elections when he pled guilty is the way they were doing is they were just going in and he was just pulling that lever again and again and again and again and again until everybody he exceeded the amount of registered voters in there, and so 100% of votes go for the Democrats. It doesn't matter. You can have a whole list of people coming in there and signing it. They're never going to be able to see whether their votes were counted or not. And so the problem with this year though is this year that would be a little bit harder because you have to fill in the oval and then put it in the computer, right? And so, but if you could do it en masse in the state, just sending in these ballots, and we'll get into a little bit later, then, and they're unverified, then you could have the numbers that we see that would give the election counter our statistical analysis to Joe Biden. So that's the big ball out there. Now for the small ball out there, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is currently has 5 Democrats on it who are out of control. These are partisan hacks. They are such a partisan hacks that they stepped in a few years ago and gerrymandered the district of Delaware County to include West Philadelphia to give it for sure to the Democrat. And instead of having 6, they did in all Pennsylvania, but instead of having 6 areas where it was split, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats going to the House, you had all but one of them fall to the Democrats. And of course, all minorities removed, because that's the other thing that the Democrat Party doesn't want to tell you about is to them, black people are just people to vote for them. They're not people to be in their club. So they did that a few years ago to the degree. Now there's a difference. The power of elections and the power of it's a political question of jurisdiction is a power of political question. The court has absolutely zero authority and absolutely zero power or ability to deal with a prerogative of the legislature. They no longer have a power of that as they do as the power to assign checks for the executive. Or to commit the state police to a function. They have zero authority over in that area. And they have zero authority in the Board of Elections. Well, 2 weeks before this election, they rewrote the legislature of Pennsylvania's rules on elections. Now, again, that's a prerogative strictly of the Pennsylvania legislature. They have no ability, no authority, and they did it in 3 key areas. They said that you number one, the election go on until Friday. Number 2, that the postmark, it doesn't have to be postmark dated. And so if it's unclear, that's okay. So because if you put a ballot in, you would think it would have to be at least postmarked by election day. And number 3, that if the signature on the outside of the ballot doesn't match the inside, then that's okay. Now that's not what the rules say. The rule says for an absentee ballot like that, the signature on the outside has to match the signature on the inside, because if you just showed up at your Court of Common Pleas immediate to deliver your ballot, you'd have to show your ID, and then you could deliver it. Or if you showed up at the polling place, again, you'd have to show your ID, because that's the Pennsylvania rules to ensure voter integrity in Pennsylvania. So they rewrote those rules 2 weeks before the election. Now, Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania GOP sued, and the federal Supreme Court has jurisdiction over this, because the federal Constitution specifically says it's the state legislatures that have the power and not state courts. So, for example, if you remember back to Bush versus Gore, the reason why the federal Supreme Court stepped in was because the crazy Democrat Supreme Court in Florida was trying to steal the election from Gore, and they finally put a nix to it, because it looks really bad when judges act so partisan like that. So eventually, though, the Florida legislature was gearing up to handle the situation, and there was going to be a battle, which again, the courts have zero authority, zero power in this area to it. So what happened was the GOP sued, and Judge Alito, and what they do is they separate each Supreme Court justice has an area of states to cover for situations like this. Alito does, because he came from New Jersey. He made a ruling, and his ruling was this: well, listen, we're not going to handle it yet. It's still too early to decide whether this is okay or not. But what we're going to do is we're going to segregate these ballots, put them off to the side. Well, Pennsylvania, because it's run by Democrats right now, they don't play by the rules. They'll do whatever they want. They're just going to do whatever they want, so they counted the votes anyway. Now, so then Judge Alito was not happy about that and sent an order: you must show up. You must explain immediately what you did. So there's the PA Democrat Attorney General is a guy named Shapiro, who I've lost all respect for. He had a reputation before this. He has no longer a reputation. He says, oh, nothing's happened. It's just minuscule. And maybe it's minuscule. And he brings up Luzerne County, which has maybe 225 of these votes compared to the 100,000 or so that they did. That's not so minuscule when the lead is 40,000. We're not talking like Luzerne County is the ultimate problem here. We're talking Philadelphia, of course, and Pittsburgh, where they steal elections every election for as long as I've been alive, right? So they're going to have to answer on Monday to the federal Supreme Court about segregating that ballot. Now, another one of the issues was that they were kicking again Philadelphia. They were kicking out the poll watchers. And this is when, of course, they got that little, the mayor of Philadelphia is a pathetic little turd by name of Jim Kenney. And he said, Donald Trump has put his big pants on. He's always talking like scatologically like this, maybe like he's wearing a diaper or something like that. He's this nut. And he said, but if you listen to what they say,
he's trying to be the greater Cuomo, John. That's what greater Cuomo speaks.
He's trying to be the big, but he's really short. He can't. So, but if you listen to the language that they say, that the black baby killer Wolf, who's the governor, to the Shapiro guy who's lost all credibility, to this mayor of Philadelphia, to the anti-Trumper who's in the secretary of the elections, of the state elections, who's an anti-Trumper. If you look at the language, they use this really specific language. We must count all ballots, right. We must count all the votes, right? It's very specific. They never talk about wait a minute. What about the verification process? What about the validity of the ballot? Of the ballot, and that to me is a consciousness of guilt. They know that the election, they're trying to steal election, and what needs to be really done is, let's see the emails. If we're so above board, and this has been a problem that's been brewing for a number of years, it's time to get rid of the idea that that these elections can be stolen. There's supposed to be a paper trail where we can trace it back. Every ballot. There's supposed to be and that's what we need to do. We need to be able to look and check my vote from my one particular person that I put in there and see written in there that I did, and the exact time 1:57 on November 3. That should be there and should be verified and should be checked. And if it's not, then there should be a problem with that. But on the bigger scale, this undermines the integrity of the election to such a degree that that if they're going to, we should get into it another show. If they're not, imagine playing the games. Imagine playing tennis with somebody on the other side, and when you get close, they change the rules, and then
Right.
you start losing again, right? Now our Ballistic brother, Patriot brother, when I explained that to him, and said, what would you do? His solution was, I'll tell you what I'll do. Our other brother, I'll go over, I break his legs, then I would keep lobbing him over, say, how do you like it when I win? Now we're not advocating violence here.
No, brother. If this was if this was something that was I hear constantly like we should just move on, that we should just give in and surrender and accept the outcome. But if they have such confidence in the process, if they believe so much about their position and
they have the
strength of their position,
they have the mandate for the Green New Deal.
What does it matter if we spend an extra month to litigate this and work it out, recount the ballots? If they are so confirmed, John, that they have won,
if there's a million ballots, they have to verify those signatures on the both. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: eventually, they're going to have to comply with the legislature's rule. They have to verify the signature on the outside and the inside, and it has to be the same. And more importantly, they have to verify the signature on the ballot to the list, the history of the verified election signatures. That has to be done. Now, remember the magic date. The magic date is December 8th. If they can't do it by then the electors don't get picked. Then it goes to the House, and for a while there, the Hag, if she's still in existence, would then become president.
No, she don't they vote before
You're
we go
right.
on that? I just want to
survive.
I just want to make a point, though, that when I made that point to the Democrats on Twitter and Facebook, the response I got was crickets. They don't have a response to that, John. It's because they just want to shove this down our throat because they're afraid of what's going to be found, because they know, John, they know that there's no way that Biden is a bigger god than Obama.
Wait, we'll get to that. That's part of our analysis.
We'll get to that. Yeah,
now, do you want to go on to what's the next thing on your, because PA is still in play.
Well, PA is still in play. We still have a number of states that are still in play. As far as I'm concerned, Michigan is in play at this point because of.
Wait, you want to do the breakdown?
I mean, we can do the breakdown. Yeah, let's. If you want to
you want to do our Ballistic Patriot analysis, or were you going to go on to? All right, so I'll go on to the analysis. All right,
I thought we were good. Okay, go on to the analysis.
All right, so now Ballistic Patriot again, brother. It's like we're like super geniuses. I mean, I got this AI thing here. This thing's useless compared to us. Are you kidding me? We called this election unbelievably. First of all, no blue wave. Blue wave was a myth. Okay, it did not happen because the election for Obama was 365 counts. They barely, if you give them this now, have enough to declare Joe Biden. If you give him Pennsylvania with all the problems and you ignore the other stuff. So this is a huge win. Now we call the Senate 50 or 51. Currently, there's two houses in Georgia with it's with David Perdue versus Ossoff and Kelly Loeffler versus Raphael Warnock. They neither one of the Republicans got over the 50% threshold, so there's going to be a runoff election in January to see who actually going to have control of the Senate. As it stands now, we're most likely to win David Perdue, although Kelly Loeffler, I mean, she's the one. She did have a political scandal with the money. But she's attractive, and so she might just win on that because pretty wins. Just that's the way it works. But even if they split that, then it'll be 50-51. At which point, as we predicted, Mitt Romney will then turn transgender and become a Democrat. And so then it'll be 50-50. It depends on who's in charge of the presidency. Although it could happen that then the vice president is picked to be Kamala, and the president is picked to be Trump, President Trump. So that could actually happen. But the number one, the blue wave did not happen. Number two, our Senate picks were good, except it's Lindsey Graham won, but at least we didn't lose the seat.
Right.
And Martha Sally lost, but Tillis won. He's 100,000 up, and so we were spot on for the Senate, and we're still going to be proven spot on when it happens as we just laid out. Now for the House, nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted what we did. They were all going to. Nancy Pelosi was predicting to pick up 20 seats. That did not happen. They did not lose one Republican incumbency. Instead, it happened as we said. When we broke it down into 8 seats that we were going to win. Currently, McCarthy, the current minority leader, says we've won 8 and there's 10 for toss-up. It's almost exactly as we called it, brother. Almost exactly. So the 8 we picked are the 8 that we targeted 31, and the 8 we said are winners. They won. They're going to pick up potentially. There's another 10 that are still too close to call. They could pick up whatever they pick up from that. Those are the ones that we said we should win, because remember, there's a little shenanigans in each one of these districts. Now, so we were spot on that. I mean, we are the only people out there. Not even Trafalgar called it like that, and we were spot on for that. Now, for the presidency itself, all right, we missed Georgia and Arizona. However, we are the only ones who called what's going on in Nevada. Nevada is still too close to call because of what we picked out on it. They were giving, remember, just so when they say, oh, blah, 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 they were giving Biden, 18 points, 18 percentages win. That did not happen. Now, if they want to believe that Obama only got 69, when he in his historic election only got 69,498 votes, and that Joe Biden got 74,857 votes. If they want to believe that Biden is bigger God than Obama, the most historic person ever to be, then then that's their problem. But whatever. Trump still got 70,598 votes, so he can still say that he's a better president and got more than Obama. and they win. But for the presidency, so we missed on Georgia and Arizona, but we picked. But we were so accurate pointing out Nevada. Now we were also amazingly correct on Florida, which the Hispanic vote came through, and the young African American vote came through, and they gave them the 3 points to Florida. Knock it down early in the month. We were spectacularly accurate on that. We were also spectacularly accurate on Ohio. Now this is the question. We're not ready to call the race yet on those states because of a couple of statistical anomalies, right? So and that's what you were talking about for Michigan. We said this. Our analysis said, so when it comes down to that, and he's going to win North Carolina eventually, although he hasn't won it yet. The analysis broke down to then the blue wall: Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and he only has to win one of them to win the election. Now they're currently giving him the blue wall to Biden, and he's claiming that they won the blue wall back. Well, leaving Pennsylvania aside for a second, our analysis showed that because of Ohio was so high up, that that he got the numbers he needed in those other 3 states to pull them. The anomaly though you're referring to though is this. If you look at the actual numbers for the states, and we have to look in it, if you compare statewide races, because you need statewide races, you compare the presidency in a state and who was on that ticket, the down ticket ballot, right? So it's been a myth that they've been telling people for as long as I've been watching politics. You always have some fresh face with a lot of money come in, and the consultants, these evil consultants, say, "Oh, they'll split the ticket. Don't worry." It's a complete lie. People are too lazy to split the ticket. It almost never happens. There's only a couple thousand split tickets. People they usually do it for family reasons or some other reason. But this is a lie. The consultants tell people to poor, honest, nice, and enthusiastic young candidates to steal their money. Both sides, right? So if you look at the split in it, you can't really tell in Wisconsin because there wasn't a senator running at that time. But there's a 20,000 vote split in that, between Trump and and Biden in that. But in Michigan, though, you see a very oddball thing. Now, let me take, for example, we're still doing the analysis on this, but usually you only see a couple thousand votes between the top of the ticket and the bottom of the ticket. So you see a couple thousand votes between whoever's running for president and whoever's running for Senate, right? So in Michigan, there was 2,790,648 versus 2,644,525. All right. So they're saying that Biden won that by 146,000. Now in the Senate race, though, you have a split of 70. So when you compare the ticket between the Michigan senator guy Gary Peters and Biden, there's a 70,000 drop off. Right now, when you go over to the Republican side between Trump and John James, you see an 8,000 difference. Now, the 8,000 difference is what you see throughout the rest of the country, throughout most of the elections. You'll see because people are just too lazy to vote for one person and then vote for another one.
But there's also the ideology, John. There's a locked-in ideology that most people don't. These are not constitutional questions where people are saying, well, if I vote for the president to be this party and the senator to be that party, they're going to be in conflict. People don't want that.
Well,
that's ridiculous for us to be thinking.
They do like split government, but they're unlikely to do it at the ballot. Right? You're right.
They're not going to do it that way.
They'll do it in years. They'll do it in years, like from one year to another year. But John,
by the way, if that's the case, then why do we have a Republican Senate and a Republican House? Trump's first for 2 years.
It depends. And then you'll have a reason like that. And you have a big wave, right? You had a Trump wave, like the blue wave for Biden never determined. But let me make the point. So on the Trump side, you see what you usually see in all the states between the top of the ballot and the bottom of the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, you don't. Now, why? Well, because listen, if you're filling out these ballots and you're trying to steal the election for Joe Biden, you're just putting in his number. It's the laziness of mankind again that shows the problem in the theft of the election. So we're not giving them Michigan. We're not giving them Minnesota yet, and we're not giving them Pennsylvania again for that reason.
You mean Wisconsin, not Minnesota?
Well, Wisconsin, I haven't been able to break down the numbers because we don't have a senator running.
But also, John, it might be the reason that we have with Sidney Powell that she mentioned. That might have something to do with this as well. It might be
we should have thrown that in earlier. But go ahead, throw in Sidney Powell because she does it better than I do.
All right. Sidney Powell, who is, by the way, also General Flynn's lawyer and lawyer extraordinaire.
Defense attorney extraordinaire.
Now that the Justice Department is involved in this review of the election.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that. I think there are any number of things they need to investigate, including the likelihood that 3% of the vote total was changed in the pre-election voting ballots that were collected digitally by using the Hammer program and a software program called Scorecard. That would have amounted to a massive change in the vote that would have gone across the country and explains a lot of what we're seeing. In addition, they ran an algorithm to calculate votes they might need to come up with for Mr. Biden in specific areas. I think that explains what happened in Michigan, where the computer glitch resulted in a change of votes of about 5,500 in favor of President Trump, just in one of 47 districts. All those districts need to be checked for that same, quote, software glitch, end quote, that would change the result in Michigan dramatically. The same thing is happening in other states. We've had hundreds of thousands of ballots mysteriously appear solely for Mr. Biden, which is statistically impossible as a matter of mathematics. It can all be documented. We are putting it into materials that we will file in federal court, and we need to seek relief in multiple states to enjoin the certification of any election results.
So there you go,
she's
brother.
Such a lawyer. She's so beautiful. She's so wonderful. Enjoying the election results. That's what needs to be done. She's talking about a different problem than we were talking about, but yet that's potentially, it's in a small ball, but it's in a small ball enough to affect the election hugely, bigly in certain areas.
Bigly,
So,
no, I mean, this is a major issue.
Unfortunately, we have the country's greatest fighter of all time at the top of the ticket, and so now, do you want to go on to the next thing, or are we going to or you want to go on with more of the analysis? So anyway, so
we finish your analysis,
Patriot,
then we could talk about what happens.
Right, so again, Ballistic Patriot
going forward.
We called, amazingly so. If you listen to the Ballistic Patriot, then you got the most accurate call of the election. Period. If you want to say if you want to say that it's called for Biden now, even if that's your case, no blue wave. We called the House. The way the House is going, the House might retain. It's probably going to retain a majority, but a bare majority. They needed 19. We said we were going to win 8 out, and they've won it already. They won those 8 outright, and then the other ones are just too close. We're still in the middle of electing them of another 8 to the 60 to another 2, right? So that 10 that we call, nobody else on the freaking planet except for our statistical analysis pulled that. That in alone is worth the price of subscription to Ballistic Patriot. That alone means we're the smartest guys out there, brother.
Right.
Even if we missed Georgia and Arizona, we made up for it in Nevada, calling Nevada the way nobody period is called Nevada. So, and Florida. Our analysis of Florida was unbelievably, uncannily accurate. It's like you came back, you got in that time machine you had, and you got in and you came back. But I know that didn't happen because I'm still poor.
So, brother, let's move on to the post-election. What happens no matter what? So we have talked about. I mean, were you done your analysis? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's their analysis.
Okay, so I mean, going forward, one thing's for sure: Trump is not going away. Whether we do believe that he's going to win, but even if he doesn't, there is still a path to victory. First off, let's talk about the man. We know he's a fighter. We know he's not going to go away. And I have some video here from Mulvaney, who is one of his top advisors, right, John?
Chief of staff. It's his
chief of staff. So here we go. Here we go. It's not a great start to it, but listen up.
After this election is over, who is the leading Republican candidate for 2024? And I think now folks are starting to realize, wait a second, if Donald Trump loses, he might be the guy. And I'm telling you, absolutely. I would absolutely expect the president to stay involved in politics, and would absolutely put him on the short list of people who are likely to run in 2024. He doesn't like losing. Plus, don't lose sight of the fact that he will be, I think, technically younger than Joe Biden is 4 years from now.
So there you have it, brother. That opens up a whole series of questions and some answers for us to discuss. With this information, what we can look at now is it possible for a president to run and have a split term? And in fact, not only is it possible, it's already happened.
For those give us the historical background on it.
Yes, I'm going to give you the historical background on it. So the 22nd president of the United States, Grover Cleveland, a New Jersey-born citizen. He was born in Caldwell, New Jersey. Then he moved, but he was born there. He ran for the presidency and won in, I think it was 1882. And he after winning, he went on for 4 years. He was a bachelor. He was the second bachelor to be president. James Buchanan was the first. But he's the first president to get married in the White House. The only president actually to get married in the White House, and his married Frances, who, by the way, John, another similarity. He was, I think, 47 when he became president. And Frances was, ready for this? Guess. Go ahead. I'll let you guess, brother. How old do you think Frances was when he married her?
37.
21.
Yeah, but everybody died
So-
back then.
Yeah, but the point is, Donald Trump, he's old. His wife is 20 years younger than him. Similarity,
Okay.
yes, very much a similarity. So he married Frances. He lost his re-election campaign to Benjamin Harrison. By the way, when Grover Cleveland ran, interesting note that because he had a kind of a coalition party election, because he was the first Democrat to win after the Civil War, he had a collection of Republicans and Democrats who voted for him, and they because they were because they were not voting for their Republican candidate, they were called mugwumps. Sound familiar?
Deplorable. Mugwumps. So it's mud.
Mugwumps. Mugwumps.
Mugwumps.
Yeah. So these guys were mugwumps. 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 They were largely they took off from the GOP and they supported Cleveland. He won the 22nd, and it was became 22nd president, 1893. He won. He lost in 1897 to Benjamin Harrison, who was the Republican candidate. In Benjamin Harrison's reelection campaign, guess what? Cleveland ran against him. And by the way, another side story: Frances, on leaving the White House, she said to the chief, like the chief, person who took care of the White House, the chief. I don't know what you call him, because we don't have people like this in our
Willie
lives.
the groundskeeper.
Yeah, I don't think so. Told them, don't hurt any of the furniture. Take good care of the furniture. We're going to be back. And then the person says, when? She goes, in exactly 4 years from today. And sure enough, they were. Her prophecy came true, and they went. They were back in there in 1885. So I'm sorry, not 1885. Yeah, 1880, 85 to 89. So we have a guy who was, he was definitely, it was 1885 to 1889, and then again, 93 to 97. That's when he was president. He did a great job in many ways. He was a president who worked across and with different groups of people. He was very firm in his belief. He really was he's considered by history one of the upper tier presidents in the history of the United States. So it wouldn't be unusual for us to see President Trump running if he did not, in fact, wasn't able to overcome the challenges in this campaign. If he decided to run in 2024, Mulvaney is correct. He would be one of the top contenders, if not the top contenders, and we know he can draw a crowd. And as long as he's feeling physically healthy enough, there's no reason why he shouldn't run. This is a guy who has demonstrated the vim and vinegar to fight, and that's what we need. We don't need these let's heal everything type of things. That's not what we need right now. So there's also another avenue too, brother. I don't know if you're aware of this, but President Trump happens to be a billionaire. And
wait, you want me to comment on that?
He made his own money on that. I mean, this was
wait. So wait, okay? Go ahead.
Because I wanted to contrast the way what happened when President Trump became president. I have a video for us that I'm going to try to share. You've seen all. Before I go into what President Trump can be doing, one of the first things you can report on is Joe Biden's first day of being confirmed. If Joe Biden becomes president, this is what we would see with this, and this is a surprise to you. You haven't seen or heard about this, so this is going to be a shock for you as well. But this could be Joe. This is Joe Biden's. We used our time travel device, and we went to the future, and we took a picture. We took videoed the future. Joe Biden's first day in office.
You shouldn't have.
Avete bene di felicità.
Sunday dinner.
Is that the Chinese?
Yeah.
And the Ukrainians and the Russians?
And the whole line of them, John.
Yeah.
The whole line of those who are buying their way into
The Biden
United
crime
States.
family.
The Biden crime family is alive and well. So a little future vision there with seeing what the future holds for us. And having said that, I also want to make it clear that if President Trump decides to because he is a billionaire and doesn't need to take bribes. If he does decide to, he also has another avenue opened up to him that we desperately need in our country.
Wait. Let me give you my thing on that, and so then you can throw that in.
Okay,
I know where you're going. All right.
Okay.
So Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, if you don't know, it was an amazing, brilliant guy. He was a Hollywood guy. He was out there, and he had just had it. And he came out one day, and he gave us one of the greatest things said about modern life. And he said, "We've lost the politics. We've lost the politics. The reason why is because politics is downstream from culture. We lost the culture, so we've lost the politics. What we need to do is take back the culture." And what he did is he started a news service, Breitbart News. He started a bunch of projects. Unfortunately, then he died. But that thought is a brilliant thought about where we are now. Pretty much one half of this country knows that the other half of the country is full of Shiite and lacks all critical thinking ability. Because think about it. Literally at this news, I said, so wait a minute. What you're saying is that the reason why we don't like Trump is because he's bad towards women, because he said that he would grab any particular woman by a particular part of her body. Yet we vote for the guy who is credibly, allegedly did do that and did penetrate a girl, and who actually ended the Me Too movement, which is a good movement, stopping the predation on women. He ended it because he then became the Democratic candidate. So your bullcrap slander of President Trump was complete nonsense. Just as the same slander as saying he's a racist. Because if he's a racist, he's the worst racist that there ever was. Now, when you say he's the top contender over the next 4 years, it's not that he's the top contender. It's just nobody's going to vote for a Republican anymore. Why? Screw the Republicans. The idiot Bushes are the same idiots. The only problem I had with Donald Trump in this campaign is he didn't point out the fact that idiot, that doddering fool, is the doddering fool who voted for NAFTA and along for the WTO and along with the most favored nation status for the Chinese. That doddering fool sold all our jobs to China and to Mexico. Why are we trying to put him in charge of the economy? That's the only argument that I have, the only disagreement that I have with Donald Trump in this election period. He should have made that point bigger. But for the culture part of that end of it, he appeals, like he did in Florida, to young black men and to Hispanics. Why? Well, because number one, a lot of Hispanics come from bullcrap countries where they know what actual socialism is, and they know that it's bad. And number two, it's the alpha maleness. And so 50 Cent don't want to be 20%. And Kanye wants to look out for black fathers. That alpha male is what's missing from American politics today. Donald Trump has the ability in the next 4 years to purge the party of the idiot Bill Kristols and the morons starting wars to get us all killed. And all the aristocreeps on the Republican side, the Bushes and all the rest of them, and make the party what it needs to truly be, the party of the middle class. He's the only one that can unite the white guy in a pickup truck with the black guy who wants to just be a father, with the Hispanic guy who just wants to start a business to make a name for himself now that he's come to this great country. He's the only one. There's nobody out there until Big Jim runs and gets in there to actually do that. So, everything happens for a reason. God is in total control. In the one sense, the best thing that could happen is that Donald Trump doesn't win. Why? Because he ain't going nowhere, and their worst nightmare is supposed to happen. Now, just like idiot Obama has broken all the precedents by being so involved, what it is traditionally the U.S. president steps aside and lets the new guy come in, because then, that's a peaceful transference of power. But since that wasn't done to him, number one, because they never recognized his presidency, and number two, Obama is such a creep that he can't help it, and the Trump did more in 3 years than he did in 8, and he beat the Trump presidency did more in 3 years. So he's a better president than Biden all around all these. He can also prove he's a better ex-president than Obama by doing a couple of things. One of which you're going to talk about in a little bit about being a billionaire and now having the Rolodex and knowing what's going on. His mistake in this election is he came in, he thought that the government would then follow the guy in charge. He's the new CEO. You got to follow me. I'm new. That didn't happen. And so his agenda was put off, but he's still Donald Trump, angel from above, Saint Michael from above, come down to protect his people, the middle class.
So let's go forward with this segment. The idea is, first off, before we talk about the reporting of what's going on currently right now, the major news networks are going on about President. They're calling him President-elect Biden. They've already made a decision, despite the fact that there's no place in the Constitution where NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, or Fox News, for that matter, are mentioned. They're never mentioned in the Constitution to be able to be the ones that determine who's the next president, even though they've determined that. Right now, we have several foreign leaders who have acknowledged who have said the same thing that the media has. Among those are Boris Johnson, who came out and congratulated them. We have the EU, whatever prime minister or whatever they are, said some prime minister, and Justin Trudeau, big surprise there, came out and said it. And then we have, believe it or not, the head of NATO, the general secretary of NATO, came out and congratulated him.
Of course, they don't want to pay their bill.
Right. Of course. And then even the mayors of places like Paris have congratulated him. So in this segment, what I'd like to start off with is the dishonesty of the media. As something that we definitely have. That's probably too loud, isn't it? Then we have the dishonesty of the media, and we need something to counteract this dishonesty and have some honesty, brother. So, having come up with that, I've determined, and after talking to you, that we are encouraging and put out there the idea of Trump TV. Trump TV is something that would be able to address the media, and it would be a chance for us to.
Let me hear the music that goes along with that.
Oh, you can't hear it?
I can't hear it. No.
I thought you could.
Who's that playing? I can't hear it.
That's Billy Joel, and can you hear it now?
Yeah. Now I can hear it.
Let's start back here. There we go. Here we go. Here it is, brother. So the media, we definitely need to have Trump TV. Can you still hear me?
That's awesome, James. Honesty and Trump TV, yes.
Honesty and Trump TV is going to be what we should have, because we have complete dishonesty from the media on what's going on in the world today. Not only, and we can see this because, John, for 4 years we heard about integrity of the ballots, integrity of voting, and how they were going to have such a hard time controlling, getting the honest ballot decisions and how we had to worry about Russian intervention, and now all of a sudden that we want to check to make sure it's like there's no Russian intervention. You see the crowds for Biden. There's no COVID. There's no problems at all. People can get as close as they want, kiss and make out on Fifth Avenue, all you want. In Times Square, all you want. You can do whatever you. I'm surprised they're not dropping drawers, if you know what I mean, and doing things like that because COVID's gone. COVID is no longer a problem.
It's a miracle.
All of a sudden, it's a miracle.
It's a Joe Biden miracle.
It was a joke that we said that we said it as a joke. After the election, COVID will be gone. But hey, here's the reality: less than 3 days after the election, and guess what? They're partying in the streets. So it's time for somebody to stand up. And John, to be clear, I'm not just suggesting that President Trump put up a news organization to fight on this, because that's not enough. It's like you were talking about Breitbart. We need the culture back. We need somebody to put forward the idea of a Netflix that's Trump flicks. I call it Trump flicks.
Trump flicks. Yeah.
Let's put it out there. And John, I remember, and I don't have it here, but I got to turn off Billy because he's going to jump to the next one.
So and
wait.
And
no, wait. I just want to say this. The idea here is when he does this, it has to be something. It has to be something that is very, very firm and shows the culture. It helps to help with our culture. That's vital. That we
he's got to unite the clans, and now's the part you're supposed to put the. Did you get the Braveheart one?
No, I didn't have that. I didn't get that. No,
unite the clans. He has to unite the clans of the white working class, the Hispanic working class, and the black working class, because we all have the same enemy: the tech tyrants and the aristocrats. Why do they hate us? Why do they want to send all our jobs across to another country? Why do they want to bring in illegal aliens? Because they're easy to manipulate? Because we're the competition. They hate us. They have to destroy us.
I want to remind.
He's the only buddy. What?
Go ahead.
He's the only one other than Reagan who stood up for us in the last 60 years. So these
John,
fools,
you mean Paul Ryan didn't stand up for us?
No,
George Bush Jr. or Sr. didn't stand up for us?
No. John McCain? No.
Mitt Romney?
No. Well, he's
Pierre
going
Delacour?
Maybe he's going to lay down. I don't know what he's going to do when he turns into a transvestite. He's already came out and supported Biden, but. So that's why I think we're going to lose. We're going to lose. Eventually, we're going to lose the. If we get 51,
I think
50.
But listen, I think there's also one other thing that you got to remember. No matter the outcome, I want you to think back to 2011, John. Do you remember the reporters? The dinner that they have for the media, national media, where they sit down and they have all the important people in the room. And the president gets up and speaks. In that case, it was Obama. He gets up and he ridiculed. Remember how he ridiculed Donald Trump?
Yeah.
And that was the night that Donald Trump decided
to run. Yeah.
I'm going to run, and I'm going to win. And so I want you to think about right now, no matter what's going on in the president's mind today, President Trump, I'm sure, is thinking, I'm not going to quit.
Well,
and we all can't quit.
But we all
have
need to
stand
say
with
prayers.
them.
We have to need some prayers to say to God. Now, when we need it, just think about this. When we were in the same situation in 2000, the entire fate of the country hinged upon 500 votes down in Florida, and God shifted it so that we had George Bush, who's not the best,
better than Al Gore.
Oh
John.
My God, how bad would that have been, right? So if we have another 4 years with the sleepy, creepy Joe Biden in charge and Kamala, that's going to be the price that we have to pay.
1 year of Biden and 3 years of Kamala.
That's the price we have to pay so that we can have the Archangel Trump come storming back and save the Republic. Because let's face it, if he wins, if they get their wins and Biden wins, he's a lame duck in 2 years. He'll come out, he'll be strong 2 years, but he won't purify us. And he won't save the Republic the way he can with a good 12 years of America, of America and Donald Trump together. Coming down, giving us the big kiss. I still haven't got my kiss yet.
Two things, John. I want to say. Normally, we don't put on like there's this conspiracy theories such as the one that Sydney talked about. But I have to tell you, she's compelling. If it was somebody else, we might not have put it up. But it was on Lou Dobbs.
Well, what about my conspiracy theory?
No, well, I mean, like credible from outside sources.
Outside sources. We don't trust.
We wouldn't have put it. We wouldn't have put up unless it was Sydney and it was on Lou Dobbs. So that's the reason why that got on there. And second, I want to give a hat tip to Sister Peg, who is the one who sent me that. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it was gold, and I knew it had to go up because of the credibility of the person speaking. If she's talking about it, John, you know that you and I both know that the president's team is consulting her on some level and working with her on some level. She might just be offering, she might just called up and said, do you need a hand? I'll help you out. It might have been nothing. They might not have said, they might say, we got it. But I'm sure she's connected to this fight somehow. And so if she is, I feel much more confidence in her being there and with her saying what she said. And we're at the end of our show, but you wanted to make a statement, brother, for the Ballistic Patriot.
So as managing editor, the Ballistic Patriot is now two things. Number one, we have to consult our $1,000 AI to see whether Trump is going to win the legal battle. So I'm going to consult it right now. Okay.
Okay.
Look, see, it's AI, and it's even named now. I don't know. I missed that before.
Cyclops?
No, it's Aragon. Aragon?
Aragon. Isn't that the book?
No,
it's good thing. It's
quiet. Its name is Aragon. It's AI. Ready?
Will
Donald Trump win the legal fight and be president for the next 4 years? Our AI says.
The question is, do you believe what he's going to say?
Don't know now. Don't know now. So our AI cannot predict it. So that's okay.
It's too much out of the ordinary.
Because Ballistic Patriot has the managing. We have a call to make in the 2020 election.
Okay.
Donald Trump won. If they can do it, we can do it. Donald Trump won.
There you go. So, John, who's the press?
We're the press now.
We're the press. Just so everyone's aware, we do. If you listen to this far, please like and subscribe our channel. Please check us out. We do this once a week, and also in the next week, hopefully you will see a book coming out for our first Ballistic Patriot paper, which will be out and available on Amazon, and will be paperback as well as digital. So please make sure you check that out. Brother, you have anything else to say?
This AI is not working. I need another $2,000.
All right, everybody. On that note, we are bouncing out of here.
We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Aye, aye. Admiral Butthead.
So don't mess with me.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
I pray for the president all the time.
Ugh, back to the lock with you, Nessie.
I've now been in 57 states.
He's what we designate as the crummy-moronic type.
You didn't crawl out from under no rocks. We didn't have no tails. We didn't come from monkeys, you atheistic pinko meathead.
Donald Trump no longer has the capacity to break my heart.
I'm not pissed. You've seen me pissed. This is way, way beyond pissed.
Now it's a party!
Don't try to be funny, will you, meathead?